This is Immersive. You are about to experience a listening adventure. The Riverbank, Part 1. The mole had been working very hard all the morning, spring cleaning his little home. First with brooms, then with dusters, then on ladders and steps and chairs, with a brush and a pail of whitewash, till he had dust in his throat and eyes, and splashes of whitewash all over his black fur, and an aching back and weary arms. Spring was moving in the air above and in the earth below and around him, penetrating even his dark and lonely little house with its spirit of divine discontent and longing. It was small wonder, then, that he suddenly flung down his brush on the floor, said, "Bother!" and "Oh, blow!" and also, "Hang spring cleaning!" and bolted out of the house without even waiting to put on his coat. Something up above was calling him imperiously, and he made for the steep little tunnel, which in his case led to the gravelled carriage drive, owned by animals whose residences are nearer the sun and air. So he scraped and scratched and scrabbled and scrooged, and then he scrooged again and scrabbled and scratched and scraped, working busily with his little paws and muttering to himself, "Up we go! Up we go!" till at last, pop, his snout came out into the sunlight, and he found himself rolling in the warm grass of a great meadow.
"This is fine,"
he said to himself.
"This is better than whitewashing."
The sunshine struck hot on his fur, soft breezes caressed his heated brow, and after the seclusion of the cellarage he had lived in for so long, the carol of happy birds fell on his dulled hearing, almost like a shout. Jumping off all four of his legs at once in the joy of living and the delight of spring without its cleaning, he pursued his way across the meadow till he reached the hedge on the other side. He thought his happiness was complete when, as he meandered aimlessly along, he found himself by the edge of a full-fed river. Never in his life had he seen such a river, this sleek with glints and gleams and sparkles. The mole was bewitched, entranced, fascinated. He sat on the bank by the side of the river, while the river still chattered on to him. He sat on the grass and looked across the river. As he gazed, something bright and small seemed to twinkle down in the heart of it, vanished, then twinkled once more, like a tiny star. But it could hardly be a star in such an unlikely situation, and it was too glittering and small for a glowworm. Then, as he looked, it winked at him, and so declared itself to be an eye. And a small face began gradually to grow up around it, like a frame round a picture. A brown little face with whiskers, a grave, round little face with the same twinkle in its eye that had first attracted his notice, small, neat ears and thick, silky hair. It was the water rat. Then the two animals stood and regarded each other cautiously. "Hello, Mole," said the water rat.
"Hello, rat,"
said the mole. "Would you like to come over?" inquired the rat presently.
"Oh, it's all very well to talk,"
said the mole, rather pettishly, he being new to a river and riverside life and its ways. The rat said nothing, but stooped and unfastened a rope, and hauled on it, then lightly stepped onto a little boat, which the mole had not observed. It was painted blue outside and white within, and was just the size for two animals, and the mole's whole heart went out to it at once, even though he did not yet fully understand its uses. The rat sculled smartly across and made fast. Then he held up his forepaw as the mole stepped gingerly down. "Lean on that," he said. "Now then, step lively." And the mole, to his surprise and rapture, found himself actually seated in the stern of a real boat.
This has been a wonderful day,
he said, as the rat shoved off and took to the sculls again.
Do you know, I've never been in a boat before in all my life.
"What?" cried the rat, open-mouthed. "Never been in a... You never... Well, what have you been doing then?"
Is it so nice as all that?
asked the mole shyly, though he was quite prepared to believe it was as he leant back in his seat and surveyed the cushions, the oars, the rowlocks, and all the fascinating fittings, and felt the boat sway lightly under him. "Nice? It's the only thing," said the water rat solemnly. "Look here, if you've really nothing else on hand this morning, supposing we drop down the river together and have a long day of it." The mole waggled his toes from sheer happiness and spread his chest with a sigh of full contentment and leaned back blissfully into the soft cushions.
What a day I'm having,
he said.
Let us start at once.
"Hold hard a minute then," said the rat. He looped the painter through a ring in his landing stage, climbed up into his hole above, and after a short interval, reappeared, staggering under a fat wicker luncheon basket. "Shove that under your feet," he told the mole as he passed it down into the boat. Then he untied the painter and took the sculls again.
What's inside it?
asked the mole, wriggling with curiosity. "There's cold chicken inside it," replied the rat briefly. "Cold tongue, cold ham, cold beef, pickled gherkins, salad, French rolls, sandwiches, potted meat, ginger beer, lemonade, soda water."
Oh, stop!
cried the mole in ecstatics.
This is too much.
"Do you really think so?" inquired the rat seriously. "It's only what I always take on these little excursions, and the other animals are always telling me that I'm a mean beast and cut it very fine." The mole never heard a word he was saying, absorbed in the new life he was entering upon, intoxicated with the sparkle, the ripple, the scents and the sounds and the sunlight. He trailed a paw in the water and dreamed long waking dreams. The water rat, like a good little fellow he was, sculled steadily on and forbore to disturb him. You've just listened to part 1 of The Riverbank, Wind in the Willows, originally written by Kenneth Grahame, published in 1908, abridged and adapted by Immersive, narrated by Alistair McMillan.